Surfing, no waves. I do it for the kids.
All for the youngest. Young man, always. Surfing, no waves. I do it for the kids.
They wanna know.
They wanna know
Who I do it for.
who I do it for.
I do it all. I do it all. I do it for the kids.
Well, hey there, welcome to the Daily Snack. My name is Jeff, and this is, it's hard to believe this is episode 31 of the Daily Snack. If you've been tracking along since the very beginning of this, you've watched 30 episodes of this thing already. Congratulations to you. If not, man, you got a whole bunch to go back and catch up on. Episode 31 of the Daily Snack right now. And if you're watching this on Monday, it's President's Day, which means you have the day off of school. Happy day off of school. I don't really know what President's Day is all about. Probably something to do with presidents. I've never given anyone any President's Day presents. I've never sung any President's Day carols or had President's Day dessert. But I do know it got me a day off of school, which is a great reason to celebrate, in my opinion. So happy President's Day to y'all out there. Now, here at the Daily Snack, since the beginning of this, we've been talking, we've been in a theme called Winter Extreme. We've been talking about extreme tips, extreme keys to living an extreme life to God. And we've been checking in at the Winter Extreme X Factor games with our friends Rock Steadfast and his partner Scooter as they've competed in the games. And it's coming into an end this week. Winter's not quite to an end yet, but the Winter Extreme theme is coming to an end. So we've got one final week of a tip, a key to living an extreme life towards God. One final week of checking in with Rock and Scooter and seeing how they did at the competition. The competition ends this week. We'll see if they won. If they didn't win, they were pretty far behind. It's going to be pretty difficult for them to win, but we'll check in on it later this week. And later this week, I'll reveal to you what's happening next week, where we are going now that Winter Extreme is coming to an end. Now, if you've been here on the Daily Snack, you know that we typically start the week with some kind of game, some kind of challenge. I've worn a frozen t-shirt. I've eaten some nasty fruit. I've shoved ice cube down my daughter's back. We've built snowmen. We've built Bigfoot tracks. We just want to start the week off just having fun together. There's no better way to start the week off than that. And today is going to be no different. We're not going to play a game. It's not even really a challenge. We've got just kind of a weird, zany activity that we're going to do together that I'm calling Zoom School Buddies. Now, how many of y'all out there really like school on Zoom? Yeah, I see one hand. I see one hand out there. Everyone else is like, no, I do not like Zoom school. I can't wait for regular school to be back again. And so I want to make some friends to do Zoom school with, because Zoom school can get really lonely. So we're going to make some Zoom school buddies this week. I'm going to put some pictures up of what I did here with my kids. So you're going to need just a couple of things that you have around the house. First of all, you're going to need an empty ice cube tray. So, hit the freezer. You don't keep your ice cube trays in the fridge. Hit the freezer, grab an empty ice cube tray. You might have to empty that ice cube tray to do that. Probably should ask your parents before you do that. You're going to need some stuff to put in the ice cube tray. So you'll see what we used. We had Lego people. We had dinosaurs. We had a spider ring. We had a weird little yellow guy with a soccer ball stuck to his head. Something that you can stick in the ice cube tray. Excuse me. And then eventually you're going to need some water, which I know that you have around your house as well. So, hey, here's how this is going to work. You're going to take your little guys, your Lego guys, your dinosaurs, whatever you got around the house. Pokemon action figures, Spider-Man would work great for this. You're going to set them in the ice cube trays. Try to get them to stand up and stick their little heads out the top. They won't all work, like the spider ring. That one didn't stick out the top for us. But get them in there with their heads sticking out the top. And then you're going to carefully get some water in there. Now, you might have to give them some assists, because when I put water in mine, some of them just wanted to lay back and float on the water. So I had to kind of use their little arms to prop them up on the side. But get them propped up the best that you can. And then you're going to carefully get these guys in the freezer. Let them sit there, overnight, because you don't have school today anyways. Let them freeze up nice and good. And then tomorrow, you're going to have a whole ice cube tray full of Zoom School buddies on your hand. And so, grab one or two out, bring them with you to school, put them in a little bowl. They're going to melt during the day. Show them off to your friends when you're allowed to by the teachers. Don't do things that your teachers don't want you to do. Like if you're like being a mean person or whatever with your Zoom school buddy, you're going to get busted. I don't want any of you to get busted by your teachers. So be nice with them, but show them off to your friends. Let them know what kind of goofy things we do here at Journeys Crossing. And then let your Zoom school buddy kind of sit there with you during the day. Do your schoolwork with him. Watch him melt. Watch the little pool form around him. Then you get your toy back, which is nice. But you'll have a nice little frozen Zoom school buddy just to laugh at when things get a little boring, when you feel a little lonely, when you feel frustrated. You'll have a Zoom school buddy there to help you through the day. And you know, make a whole ice cube tray of them. You'll have enough for all week long. I know my kids are really looking forward to having some Zoom school buddies. They're not quite doing Zoom school. They're doing something a little bit different, but they're going to have some buddies to do their work with this week. They're really looking forward to that. I wish I had buddies, by the way, to do my work with me. I mean, how come I don't get no Zoom school buddies? I mean, I know I'm not going to Zoom school, but I should have little guys like sticking out of ice cubes to keep me company as I work all throughout the week, shouldn't I? Maybe I should go make my own tray of Zoom school buddies. All right, well, I hope you have a whole lot of fun with this, and I hope these Zoom school buddies bring you just a little bit of gigglediness. I don't know if that's really a word or not. A little bit of joy, a little bit of comfort during the week. Man, this COVID thing has been a long time, but we're getting through it. We're closing in. The end is in sight. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. Looks like school next year will be kind of normal, which is really, really good. I'm glad you guys be able to have kind of normal school. We all have a kind of normal church here at some point, which will be nice. It's been long. It's okay to recognize that it's been long and it's been frustrating, but hopefully these Zoom school buddies give you a little bit of relief from it. Now, before I go, we need to take a look at this week's Key to Extreme Living. It's our final Key to Extreme Living in the Winter Extreme series. Let's find out what it is. All right, this one might be the most difficult of all of them, and that is disciples of Jesus trust that God has our best in mind. Disciples of Jesus trust that God has our best in mind. You might be saying, man, we've talked about COVID and Zoom school and all kinds of stuff. How, as a follower of Jesus, as someone who wants to be like Jesus, how can I trust that God has my best in mind during all of this mess? Well, we're going to talk about it all throughout the rest of the week. Tomorrow we'll be back. We'll look at what Jesus had to say in the Bible, and we'll look at what happened to Rock and Scooter. And man, we'll discover together this key to extreme living, that disciples of Jesus trust that God has our best in mind, what it's all about, and how we can, I can, you can, your parents can, everyone can trust that God has their best in mind. It's some of the best news in the whole Bible. I hope I see you tomorrow here at the Daily Snack. Bye-bye, everyone.
Yeah. Young man, always surfing, no waves. I do it for the kids.
All for the youngest. Young man, always surfing, no waves. I do it for the kids.
They wanna know.
They wanna know
Who I do it for.
who I do it for.
I do it all. I do it all. Do it for the kids.
They wanna know.
Well, hey, happy Tuesday. This is Jeff. Welcome back to the Daily Snack. Your first day back in school this week, so you can't be too worn out yet. I hope you had a great day in school, or maybe you're watching this early in the morning. I hope you're going to have a great day in school. All right, well, if you caught us yesterday, we did what I can only describe as a weird craft. How did that turn out for you? If you participated yesterday, are you sitting there watching the Daily Snack with some toy stuck in an ice cube? If you didn't watch it yesterday, you've got to go back and check it out. Like I said, I can only describe it as a weird craft. I think you're going to have a great time with that one. So go back and check that out. Now, at the end of yesterday's Daily Snack episode, we revealed a key to extreme living, kind of our last in a series of key to extreme livings as we get ready to move on from this winter extreme kind of idea. And let's go ahead and let's check out this point for the week, this key for extreme living. All right, disciples of Jesus trust that God has our best in mind. And I said yesterday, and I'll say it again today, and I'll probably say it more this week, This one might be the most difficult of all the main points that we have. This idea that even when things aren't going well, even when someone asks us to do something we don't like to do, even in the midst of COVID and going to school on Zoom, that God has our best in mind, trusting that is so, so difficult. You know, there are many times in life when we might be asked to do things that we don't like, but if we do them, we actually might turn out that they're actually kind of good for us. In fact, there are even times when God will ask us to do things that at the time we might not want to do. God asks us to do all kinds of challenging things. Forgive people even when they don't deserve it. Love people even if they don't love us back. It's really tough stuff following these things that Jesus tells us to do. In the end, all of those things that Jesus says, they all actually turn out to be best for us. We need to trust God knows God knows more than us, and trust that he wants what's best for us, and so we should do what he is telling us to do. Now, tell you what, this might seem pretty strange, and I want to talk about it a little bit more with you, because I don't want us to pretend that it's easy to do this, but I think in order to understand this concept a little better, we need to take a look in the Bible, we need to take a look at Jesus, and a time in Jesus' life where he asked his followers to do something that, well, seemed kind of strange, even stranger than yesterday's weird craft. So why don't you jump in and let's check out today's Bible story together. All right, well, like I've said, we're talking a little bit about what it means to trust God and why we want to trust him, because he wants what's best for us. So let me tell you a little story that can help us understand this a bit better before we head over to the Bible. Imagine that your birthday is coming up in a few weeks and your parents have already asked you what you wanted, and you told them it's just one thing that you've wanted all year long, the Widget 5000. It is the amazing anything toy. You can build with it. You can use it as a doorstop. You can stand on it. You can throw it. You can wear it, or anything that your imagination can come up with. That is all you want for your birthday. Your parents buy you a present. They wrap it up. It looks nice. It looks pretty. It's sitting in their room for a couple weeks now, and you cannot wait to open it on your birthday because you're sure it's the 5000. It has to be. You told your parents what you wanted, and you know that they heard you. Well, the big day finally arrives, and you can barely contain yourselves as you tear open the box and pull out your Widget 5. Wait, this isn't the Widget 5000. It's a big, expensive winter coat. Why would your parents get you this? There's got to be some mistake. You don't want a coat. You want the widget. I mean, I know it's cold outside, but you ask your parent where the widget is, and they said they didn't get you one. They just got you the coat. This is awful. It's the worst birthday present ever. But now imagine here we are. It is the middle of winter, and you're standing outside school waiting for your parents to come pick you up. You got to imagine that like school is an actual thing again. It's very cold outside, but you're wearing the coat that they got you for your birthday. And even though it's very cold outside, you're nice and warm and toasty. And suddenly you realize that if your parent had got you the Widget 5000 instead, you'd be really cold right now. The widget can do a lot of things, but can't keep you warm. Your parents knew that, and they knew what you needed was a coat. Even though it wasn't what you wanted, your parents knew what was best for you. You see, our parents know more than us. Write that one down, kids. And we need to trust that they want what's best for us, and it's the same with God. God knows way more than you or me. What he wants for us to do something, even if it doesn't make sense, even if it doesn't seem like fun, we need to trust that he wants what's best for us. And Jesus' closest friends and followers, the disciples, they learned all about this in the book of Luke, chapter 5. One day Jesus was preaching to a crowd of people on the shores of a sea called Galilee. And the crowd was huge. Not everyone could see Jesus. And Jesus noticed that there were a couple empty fishing boats there on the shore, and some fishermen who owned the boats were nearby washing out their nets. Jesus stepped into one of the boats and asked the owner, Simon Peter, if he'd take him out into the water. And Simon Peter said, sure. And they moved the boat out, and Jesus taught the crowds from there. When Jesus was finished a couple hours later, he said to Simon, now let's go out where it's deeper, Simon, and let down your nets to catch some fish. This was a weird request because Simon Peter was done fishing for the day. He'd been out fishing all night, and actually, he hadn't caught anything. If there were any fish to catch, he would have caught them by now. He was tired. He was done working. He could have whined and said, "No, I'm not going to do that." But instead, he said,
"Master, we worked hard all last night and didn't catch anything. But if you say so, I'll let the nets down again."
Even though he was tired, Peter trusted that Jesus knew what he was talking about, and he let down his nets. And that's when something absolutely miraculous happened. He began pulling in his nets, and they were full of fish. They were so full, in fact, the nets started to tear. And so Peter shouted, called for his partners, James and his brother John, to come and help him with a second boat. And soon after that, both boats were so full of fish that they actually were in danger of sinking. And that day, Simon Peter, James, and John, they all became followers of Jesus. You see, Jesus knew what was best for these guys. Casting the nets again, it didn't make any sense. It was hard work. It was not a lot of fun. They'd already washed them out. But Simon Peter trusted that Jesus knew what he was talking about, and he trusted that Jesus wanted what was best for him. We need to be the same way when it comes to God. We need to trust that God wants what's best for us, even if we don't understand what that best might be right now. Because disciples of Jesus trust that God has our best in mind. So, Peter, he trusted Jesus even though what he was telling him made absolutely zero sense. Peter been out fishing all night long, and then Jesus came along and said, "Hey, throw your net on the other side of the boat." Peter was tired. He may not have wanted to obey Jesus, but you know what? Peter obeyed and threw his net over to the other side and caught not just some fish. He probably caught more fish than he'd ever caught in his life. Now, this, I think, is a pretty extreme key to living. This idea that we trust that God has our best in mind. I mean, we saw Peter do it 2,000-ish years ago with something like throwing his nets over the boat. But man, we are living in a time right now where we can really put that into action. Trusting that God has our best in mind, even in the midst of this illness that's running around, is really tough. And you know what? Lots of people, they just don't. They just, people run around and, man, people just are so disheartened. They're so depressed. They're so everything. There's so many people that just think that, why is this going on? And why bother? Why bother being nice to people? Why bother doing things I normally do? Because this is just so terrible. But that's not what God asks us to do. God asks us to trust that he has our best in mind, and he asks us to keep going on with the things that he has called us to do, to love others, to have joy and peace, to have patience with others, kindness, treat people gently, have self-control, all these things that he calls us to do every day, he calls us to do right in the middle of COVID too. And man, I gotta tell you, it's really tough. I don't want to pretend this is easy. It is not easy to go on every day trusting that God has our best in mind through all of this. But it's precisely what God has told us that we need to do. We need to trust him. And if we read the Bible, we can see over and over and over again God coming through. When he promises something, he comes through. And when people follow him, God comes through for them. He loves his children. And that's exactly what we are when we put our faith in his son, Jesus. It might be the most extreme to all the keys of living that we've talked about in this series, but it might be also the most important. It's really easy to follow Jesus when things are going well and we're not asked to do anything too tough. It's when he asks us to do tough things and things aren't going well that the rubber kind of meets the road, and we really get to see whether we're really committing to follow Jesus or whether we're just kind of following Jesus only when it's easy. I wish I could tell you this was easy, but it's just not. And it's good to know that Jesus never said that it was easy too. It's not supposed to be easy. But God wants what's best for us. Man, so big of a key to extreme living. In fact, we're going to be talking about this all throughout the rest of the week, including tomorrow here on the Daily Snack. We're going to come back, we're going to talk about this a little bit more, and we're going to check in one last time at the Winter Extreme X Factor Games. It is the end of the competition tomorrow. Rock and Scooter, they don't seem to have done very well on all this. I don't know if they're going to win this thing, if they're not going to win this thing. I mean, it seems like the way these things normally work is that the main characters win, but gosh, I just don't know. I hope you come back tomorrow and check it out with me as they also discover that God, that they need to trust that God has the best in mind for them. So until then, I'll see you tomorrow on the Daily Snack.
Young man, always surfing, no waves.
Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
Ronnie, how happy are folks who save hundreds of dollars switching to Geico? I'd say happier than a camel on Wednesday.
Hump day!
Get happy.
Oh, you made it to Wednesday, middle of the week at the Daily Snack. How are you doing? My name is Jeff. And, we're here today on Wednesday like we normally do, and actually for the last time, to check in with the Winter Extreme X Factor Games. We have been talking for weeks and weeks and weeks about keys to living extreme lives for God, and there have been a couple of competitors. Rock Steadfast, who's the multi-time defending champion, along with his new partner, Scooter. They have been competing in the Winter Extreme X Factor Games. They haven't done so well. Today is the finals of the competition, so we'll get to check in with them in just a little bit and see, did they win the competition or not? A lot of times when we follow along with stories, the main character, wins the day. They've slayed the dragon, they win the medal, whatever it is, solve the mystery. So today we'll see what happens to Rock and Scooter. Now, we've been talking about a final key to living extreme lives for God this week, and it is that disciples of Jesus trust that God has our best in mind. We've talked about how that is difficult. That might be the most extreme of all of our extreme keys because, there's lots of circumstances in life where it's really hard to feel like God has our best in mind. We only see things through our own point of view. COVID, Zoom school, all kinds of stuff. It's hard to feel like God has our best in mind. It's also hard to feel like God has our best in mind when God is asking us to do difficult things too, like forgive people that hurt your feelings, love people who are really kind of mean. All those kind of things in the Bible that God tells us to do, they're really hard. It doesn't always feel like He's got our best in mind. It feels like He's trying to make us do hard, difficult, almost impossible things. So we need to talk a little more about that today, this week, and figure out what does this key to extreme living look like and how is it even possible that the God of the entire universe has our best in mind. But before we dig into any of that, we need to go and check out the finals of the Winter Extreme X Factor Games. The final event is synchronized snowboarding, an event I don't think I've ever seen anybody do ever, but Rock and Scooter are in it, so let's check them out.
Bob Kudos here, and yes, we're almost at the end of the Winter Extreme X Factor Games for this year. But we still have one more event to go, synchronized snowboarding. Snowplow, tell us what's happening.
I'll tell you what's happening, Bob. The fans here are ready for some synchronized snowboarding. Up first is Team Oldenburg. It looks like they're both ready. And they're both into the half pipe, crisscrossing and building momentum for their first trick. They both seamlessly execute a goofy goober, followed by the blender twist. Oh my goodness, that was the side saddle tippity too. And they end their routine with the classic salt and pepper popper. That was truly an amazing run by our current first place team, Team Oldenburg. And the final score is in from the judges. 145 points! That is an astounding score, just short of a perfect 150.
Yes, this all but assures victory for Team Oldenburg. We'll have more synchronized snowboarding action right after this. I'm Bob Kudos.
Wow! That was an amazing run. And because of that, I think it'll be nearly impossible.
There's no way we're gonna be able to beat them. They're so good.
I know. Whoa. We're both nervous. We're both nervous. They put the pressure on us.
They're so good.
You know, we should just pray.
We should pray?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's a good idea.
Lord, thank you so much for this competition. Help us do our very best. Please watch out over us. In your name, amen. Come on.
Amen. Oh, yeah. You know what? Running is so extreme, and I feel so much better.
I'm glad. But wait, I need to tell you something.
You need to tell me something.
Listen.
Okay, listening. No matter what happens. No matter what.
It's been an honor and a privilege to be your teammate.
Really? Yeah. That's the nicest compliment anyone's ever told me, Rock. That's so cool. You're the best.
Here's what we're gonna do.
What are we doing?
We're gonna rock and synchronize snowboarding.
Let's go to the competition.
Bob Kudos, and we're back. Up next is the current second place competitors, Team Steadfast. What can you tell us, Snowplow?
Bob, this team has been through many ups and downs throughout the games this year. In a matter of weeks, they've gone from hopeless underdogs to a force to be reckoned with. These two are definitely a crowd favorite. It looks like they are ready to begin their routine. Now remember, competitors in the synchronized snowboarding event have to be perfect mirror images of each other throughout their entire routine. And Rock and Scooter don't waste any time getting into their routine. My goodness, they are perfectly synchronized. It is like I'm seeing double. There's a beautiful Itchy Gorilla move pulled off just before they enter into it. I don't believe it. The stampeding prairie dog maneuver. Oh my goodness, the shredded nacho cheese move. And they landed perfectly in sync. The crowd is going nuts. They have to beat 145 points to get the gold medal and get back into first place for the overall competition. And it looks like the judges have the final score. 150 points. I don't believe it. They did it, Bob. It is hard to describe how crazy the crowd has gotten.
Wow! That was an impressive display by Team Steadfast, which has earned them the title of champion. Way to go, Rock and Scooter. Yes, the competition has been truly extreme this year. And I, Bob Kudos, have been proud to guide you through it. We'll be back with coverage of the closing ceremonies right after this. I'm Bob Kudos.
Whoa! We did it! We won! We won! I've been waiting all competition to do the woohoo extreme victory dance. Here we go! Woohoo! Woohoo! Oh yeah! Extreme! Woohoo! Woohoo! Oh yeah! Extreme! Come on, Rock! You know the dance moves! Woohoo! Woohoo! Oh yeah! Extreme! Hey, Rock! Rock! Did you hear the announcer? Rock! Did you hear the announcer? We won! We won the X Factor games!
But, I mean, if I'm gonna be look, hold on, something went totally whacked out at the end of that run.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Look, we weren't synchronized at the end.
You're not making any sense, Rock.
All right, look, listen. The way we practiced it, we're supposed to be mirror images
Yeah, mirror
of each
images.
other. We messed up at the end. I spun the wrong way, which means we weren't synchronized.
But look. We got the perfect score, remember, and we won.
Yeah, I know, but the judges just didn't see it. That's all that happened.
Well, it sounds to me that we just got extremely lucky. Oh, yeah.
That's not fair. That's not fair the way we won. We need to go now tell the judges the truth about what happened.
Are you crazy? We finally won the competition. We won the games.
No. I'm not crazy, and it's not fair to the other teams to claim the victory like that. You know what? God always wants us to be honest, and we need to go tell the judges and do the right thing.
Well, I really don't like the sound of us not winning the competition. But I do trust that God has his best in mind for us, and
you know he does.
Well, okay, Rock. Okay, we'll do what you say. We'll go talk to the judges.
Go talk to them.
And I just hope everything works out okay.
Yes, the competition this year has been fierce, fun, and as always, extreme. Hi, I'm Bob Kudos. Team Steadfast will take home the X Factor trophy this year, and they've certainly earned it. Snowplow Snowplow is on the scene to walk us through the award ceremony. Snowplow?
Yes, Bob, Team Steadfast will take the trophy and... Wait a minute. I've just received word that some new information has come to light concerning Team Steadfast's recent synchronized snowboarding routine. Rock and Scooter have admitted to the judges that they had an infraction towards the end of their routine. It looks like the judges have talked it over and they've deducted 10 points from their score. That means that Team Steadfast is no longer the winner of the X Factor trophy. The new winner is Team Oldenburg. I am sure that Team Oldenburg appreciates Team Steadfast's honesty. Team Steadfast will go home with the silver medal.
Oh, an unexpected turn of events here late in the games. Well, better luck next time, Team Steadfast. And kudos to Team Oldenburg. I'm Bob Kudos, and this has been the Winter Extreme X Factor Games with me, Bob Kudos.
Hello? Oh, Scooter, hello? Hold on 1 second. Hello? Uh-huh. It's the commissioner, the head of the X Factor Games.
Really? Rock! It's the head of the Snow Extreme Sportswear Company!
Sir, thank you so much. It would be an honor.
Yeah, we totally had to be honest because that's what God would want us to do. Really? No way. We would love to! Oh, this is so extreme! Sorry, sir, I didn't mean to yell.
All right, bye, take care.
We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Rock,
that?
you're not gonna
Who was
believe
that?
it.
What?
The people from the Snow Extreme Company, they want us to be in their new commercial. Yeah! Extreme!
You're not even gonna believe this.
What?
I just talked to the commissioner.
You did?
He wants both of us to be back here next year.
Next year?
And we don't have to go through all these qualifying
That's so
rounds.
awesome! I'm so glad we did what God wanted us to do. Because look, we get to be in a commercial and we get to come back next year.
Whoa. God always wants us to trust him. You know what? It worked out, didn't it?
Yeah, you're right.
It did, man.
Rock, I'm getting another call. Hello? It's the people from the Extreme Snow Sports Channel. They want us to do an interview. Hello?
Wow, what a finish to the X Factor Games. And that was awesome. And man, talk about a plot twist at the end with Rock and Scooter. It looked like they were going to win, and then they didn't. Now, first of all, before we even dig into that, how difficult was that? I mean, y'all, I'm sure, watch at least a little bit of sports in your lives. You have someone who makes you watch sports if you don't really like it, or you love sports like me and you watch as much as you can get your hands on. How often do you see people do that? How often do people say, like, maybe someone commits a foul in an NBA game? What do they always do? They're always like this. Not me. How often do they just raise their hand, tap the ref on the shoulder, and say, hey, I actually clobbered that guy? Think about football. Pass interference calls. What's the defensive back always do? Oh, not me. I didn't touch him. How weird would it be for the guy to walk up, tap the ref on the shoulder, and say, hey, man, I totally mugged that guy. You should throw the flag at me. That never, ever, ever happens. That had to have been so difficult for Rock and Scooter to do. Now, they knew that God wanted them to be honest, which was going to be hard because they're going to have to give up something they wanted, like winning. But they trusted that if God wanted them to do it, that everything would work out for the best. And as you could tell at the end of that, it did. They didn't win the competition, but it did work out for the best. And you know what? It's the same in our lives. We may be asked to do something that we don't want to do. We may have to go through a situation that we don't want to be in. But if we know it's the right thing, if we know that obeying God is the right thing, if we know that God is in control, then we need to trust that God will work everything out for our good in the end. Now, there's a great verse in the Bible. It's a super famous verse. Even people who maybe don't even know God a whole lot might know this verse right here. It's from a book in the Bible called Proverbs. Let me reveal this verse to you, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. All right. super, super well-known verse and easy to remember, which is one of the things that I love about it the most. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. This book is in a book in the Old Testament called Proverbs, which is a whole collection of wise sayings. And most of them we believe were written by King Solomon, who the Bible describes as someone who was given extra wisdom from God, the wisest man to ever live on the face of the earth. And this was one of his wise sayings. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. This Bible verse helps to understand if we depend on our own understanding and only do the things that we want to do, we don't trust God when he asks us to do something we don't want to do, we don't want to go through difficult circumstances that we don't think are fair, you know what? We'll miss out on some great things that God has for us. We need to trust in God with our whole heart and not our own understanding. I had an activity that I shared with your parents this week, and it involved this piece of paper right here. So you can see I've got just a normal black construction paper, and I've got this little tiny hole that I poked through it with a pencil in the end. And this verse actually reminds me of this activity. You can do this at home. Just grab a dark piece of paper and boop, poke a hole through it. When we look at things through our own understanding, it's like we're looking at life through a little paper like this and just through the hole. You can't see me squinting through the hole on camera, but it's like we're just looking through this little hole. We can only see just a little bit of what we're doing. If we go up to a Where's Waldo thing and we look through the Where's Waldo thing with this, we might only be able to see 2 or 3 of those little people wearing red and white on there. That's what it's like when we go through life on our own understanding. When we go through life trusting that God is in charge, it's like we take this little piece of paper and we take it away, because God does not look through life with a little piece of paper with a little hole in it. God sees it all. God is awesome. He is above everything. He is everywhere all at once. He is all-knowing and he is all-loving. So we can trust that this God who made the whole universe and who made us can see what we're going through and loves us enough to help us in it. That's really cool. That's why I said that this key to extreme living, that disciples of Jesus trust that God has our best in mind, is the most extreme, but maybe the most important of everything that we've looked at so far. Well, that kind of wraps up our time for today. I hope you join us tomorrow, because tomorrow we've got a whole discussion going on about this same idea that God has our best in mind. If you ever wonder, man, I don't know if God even knows I exist. I don't know if God has my best in mind. I don't know what God's doing. This discussion is for you. We're going to look at some stories from all over the Bible. We're going to talk about them. We've got some special guests to read some of those stories. Actually, one of you out there is going to read one of those stories. So it's going to be awesome. I hope you're back at the Daily Snack tomorrow. As for me, as you can tell, I'm not wearing kind of normal clothes. I'm getting ready to actually head outside and run. It's going to be warm today, so I'm going to run. But I'll see you back tomorrow on the Daily Snack. Bye-bye, everybody.
Young man, always surfing, no waves.
Well, hey kids, happy Thursday. Welcome back to the Daily Snack. I hope you're having a great week. I hope you're having a great day today. Thanks for taking a little bit of your day to spend a little bit of time with me. Some of our friends are going to be here as well. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this week's key to extreme living, which is disciples of Jesus trust that God has our best in mind. Now, we've been talking all week about this key to extreme living and how difficult that is. We took a look at what Jesus said in the Bible a couple days ago. Yesterday, we took a look at the end of the Winter Extreme X Factor games with Rock Steadfast and his partner Scooter. And I said we were going to come back today and take a look at a little bit more of what this looks like in our lives. And I've got some friends to introduce in just a little bit too. But first of all, I want to talk about a song that we like at Kids Church at Journey's Crossing. You may be watching this and you're like, Journey's Crossing, what's that? We're a church. We're in Germantown, Maryland, and we meet. We sing songs, we play games, we have fun. It's pretty chill. And anyways, we got a song that we sing called Hindsight. I want to play just a little clip of that song right now. Take a listen.
I don't need to know what the future said, 'cause if the past could talk, it would tell me this: my God isn't finished yet. If he did it before, he can do it again. So I trust him with what comes.
All right, listen to these lyrics that were right where the chorus starts. They sing, I don't need to know what the future says, because if the past could talk, it would tell me this. My God isn't finished yet. If he did it before, he can do it again. So I'll trust him with what comes next, for the God I know is known for faithfulness. And you know what? So let's let the past talk. That's what they talk about in the song, right? If the past could talk, it would tell me this. Let's go back to the way past. Let's look at some of the things that happen in the Bible and see if it can help build our trust that God has our best in mind. But we don't even have to go back that far. We can always look at the past of what's happened in our lives, in our parents' lives, in our grandparents' lives, in the lives of people that we knew. But today, let's go to the way past. And I want to invite some people to read a couple of stories from the Bible to us, and then we're going to talk about those. And the first one coming up is Cheryl. Cheryl's going to share with us the story found way back in the book of Genesis of a guy named Joseph. I want you to listen carefully to this story because there are 4 things that happen in this story that are not great things. I don't wish these things to happen. I didn't wish them to happen to Joseph. I don't wish them to happen to my life. I don't wish them to happen to anybody's lives. So listen to what Cheryl is saying. See if you can come up with these 4 things, and then when we get back, we'll talk about these. Here we go. Take it away, Cheryl.
Joseph was a favorite son of his father. His father gave him a special coat that made his brothers unhappy. One day, they decided to hurt Joseph. They took the coat when they were far away from their house and threw Joseph into a hole. Before they left home, the brothers saw some peddlers who were going to Egypt, and they sold their brother to them. Then they smeared blood on Joseph's coat and took it to their father. They told their father that Joseph was eaten by a wild animal. Joseph's father was very sad. When Joseph got to Egypt, he was sold to a man who was in charge of the land. Joseph worked very hard and earned respect in the land of Egypt. One day, the Pharaoh, who was the ruler of the land, heard that Joseph was able to interpret dreams, and he asked Joseph to come tell him what his dreams meant. Joseph made friends with the Pharaoh and was given much power in the land. One day, his brothers came to Egypt to find food for their family. They didn't know that Joseph was there. Joseph learned that they were there and went to meet them. The brothers were sorry for selling him. They went home and told their father that Joseph was still alive, and they all moved to Egypt to be together. The family was back together again.
All right, thanks for reading that, Cheryl. Kids at home, did you come up with those 4 things? Here's what I heard. I heard Cheryl say that they threw Joseph into a hole. His brothers threw him in a hole. Anyone here want to be thrown in a hole? Not me. They sold their brother. They sold their brother. That's insane. When Joseph went missing, their dad was very, very, very sad. That is a huge thing. And then Joseph, after he was sold, well, the people he was sold to sold him again. Sold him to a man in Pharaoh's command. So 4 things: thrown in a hole, sold once, made his dad sad, sold a second time. Those are bad things. So you might be like, well, the past tells me that bad things happen, but God was still in control then. Did you catch how God was in control? Yeah, he absolutely was. He actually reunited Joseph to his brothers after Joseph was able to interpret dreams and become second in command in all of Egypt. In fact, listen to what Joseph says to his brothers when he finally reveals himself to them. It's in Genesis chapter 45, verse 5. He says, "Don't be upset. Don't be angry with yourselves for selling me into this place. It was God who sent me here ahead of you to preserve your lives." Amazing. Joseph saw all these bad things that happened to him. They were actually God at work. Pretty crazy, right? So God was able to use this really bad thing of Joseph being sold to slavery and all these things for something really good. He saved the lives of all of Joseph's family and his family. Joseph's, brothers and all that stuff, all their kids became the Israelites that we read about all in the Old Testament of the Bible. Wow, that's amazing. All right, I'm going to bring in Jenna next. Jenna is going to read to us the story of Ruth and Naomi. And in that story, she's going to have a couple things that, aren't really good either. So, Jenna, why don't you share this story? Kids, listen in. See if you can find the things that are kind of bad in this story. Here we go.
There were 2 women named Ruth and Naomi. Ruth was married to Naomi's son, but he died. Ruth was sad and alone, but she promised to stay with Naomi wherever she went. So when Naomi decided to go back to Bethlehem, where she was from, Ruth went with her. Ruth worked hard to take care of Naomi. Every day she went to the wheat fields and picked up grain to take home for food. She had to work very hard every day to get enough food for her and Naomi. It turned out that Ruth was working in the field of a man named Boaz. Boaz saw how hard Ruth worked to take care of Naomi. He decided that he wanted to marry her and take care of her and Naomi. Ruth was very happy then. Many years down the road, one of their descendants was Jesus.
All right, thanks, Jenna. All right, kids, what'd you come up with in that story? I've got 2 or 3 things here that I wouldn't want to happen to people. First of all, Ruth's husband died at a pretty young age, and all of Naomi's sons died at a young age. That's tragic, and it made Naomi sad and alone, which is terrible. And then when Ruth decided to go back with Naomi, she had to work very hard in the fields, picking little tiny bits of grain off of stalks by hand with no machines or anything all day, every day. Those are not great things. I wouldn't want that to happen to me or anyone that I know. Now, the question is, was God still in control even though those bad things were happening? Yeah, he absolutely was. He was able to bring Ruth and a guy named Boaz together. Boaz took care of Ruth, took care of Naomi. They got married, not Boaz and Naomi. Boaz and Ruth got married, and like Jenna told us, one of their descendants became Jesus, and that's true. Ruth became the great-grandmother of King David in the Old Testament, the greatest king that the Israelites ever had. And down through the line of King David comes this guy named Jesus, who was born about 2,000 years ago. Ruth, a foreigner, a foreign widow who had this really rough life, became the great-grandmother of King David and the great-great-great-great-grandmother of Jesus. Amazing. All right, we got one more story for you, and our friend Jeremy actually got in touch with me this week and said, could I read this story? And I said, yeah, absolutely. So, Jeremy, tell us the story of a guy in the Old Testament named Gideon.
God told Gideon that he wanted him to go defeat a group of people who were very evil and were hurting other people. Gideon told God that he didn't think he could because he couldn't do it. Because he was the youngest in his family and not many people would go with him. God promised that he would help Gideon and make sure that he would win. Gideon took thousands of men with him. God told him that there were too many men. Gideon told that the men could leave. They could leave if they were afraid. Over half of the men left. Gideon was worried that he would not be able to defeat these people with such a small number of men, but God told Gideon that there were still too many men. So Gideon took them down to the river. There at the river, God separated the men and told Gideon to send home all but 300 of them. Gideon was scared that he would not be able to defeat this evil people with so few men. God told him that he would help him. So Gideon took his men into the camp. Gideon and his 300 men were able to defeat the evil men so that they were not able to keep hurting good people.
All right. Hey, thanks, Jeremy. All right. As Jeremy told that story, I heard 4 things in here that were not great things. Did you hear them at home? First of all, Gideon had a lot of self-doubt. He did not think he could do what God told him to do. Not even like he kind of doubted it. He was like, flat out, nah, I can't do it. And then, when he finally gathered people together with him, half the men left. He gave them the option that if you're scared, you can go home, and half the men just went, pew, and they left him. But then God told him, you still have too many guys left, which was disheartening. I mean, Gideon was doubtful that he could do this at all, and now, even after half the guys left, Gideon, what? There's too many? What? And then he did the whole test with being able to how do you lick water out of a river, which is a weird test to me, and all but 300 men went home. Gideon had to defeat an army with a lot of self-doubt with 300 guys. That's terrible. That would have been so stressful for Gideon. Was God still in control of, even though those bad things were happening? Yeah, absolutely. God was there. He won the battle. And what the Bible tells us in the book of Judges, this takes place in the book of Judges, by the way, is that the army that was harassing the Israelites was from a nation called Midian. And after God and Gideon were done with Midian, Midian was defeated for good. They never came back to power. And the Israelites had 40 years of peace because of that. That's pretty awesome stuff. So let's get back to our main point, and let's get back to this song that we heard earlier. In each of these stories, God was in control of the situations, and we can learn from these stories that even when things seem to not be going good, even when the situations are terrible, that God is in control, and he has our best interest in mind. It's just like they sang in our song. I don't need to know what the future says, because if the past could talk, it would tell me this: my God isn't finished yet. If he did it before, he can do it again. So I'll trust him with what comes next, because the God I know is known for faithfulness. The God I know I can trust has my best in mind, because I can see everything that he did in the past. Way back in the Bible thousands of years ago, but also in my life as I was growing up, as I went to college, as I started having kids, as I became a children's pastor. God has worked in my life all through that, and I've seen him at work. And it makes me when I get scared, when I don't like how things are going, when he asks me to do tough things, when COVID happens, when bad things happen, I can get freaked out. It's easy to look at the bad thing and get freaked out. But I can also, if I'm smart, if I'm using my brain, I can think about the great things that God has done in the past. And I can say, I can trust God with what's next, because the God I know is known for faithfulness. The past talks, and it tells me that God has my best in mind. I hope this helps you a little bit, because bad things are going to happen in your life. Jesus said that in the Bible, that, bad stuff is going to happen. Following God is not an automatic ticket to an easy life. But you know what? Think of what happened in the past. Read the Bible, talk to your parents, think about your life, and remember that you can trust God to have your best in mind. I hope you're back here tomorrow as we head to Club Dance, and we'll finish up the week by remembering more about what God has done, praising him, dancing, and just letting the cares of the week fall away. Love you guys. See you tomorrow.
Young man, always surfing, no waves. I do it for the kids.
All for the youngest. Young man, always surfing, no waves.
Well, hey kids, welcome to Club Dance. My name is Jeff. You made it to another Friday here in COVID Zoom school land. I'm proud of you for making it through another week. And what better way to close the week out than a visit to Club Dance? All right, now this week in the Daily Snack, and if you haven't watched any of the episodes yet, go back, binge it a little bit, have a little snack binge going on. We had another Key to Extreme Living this week, and our Key to Extreme Living was that disciples of Jesus trust that God has their best in mind. We've talked all about how difficult that is, how it could be maybe the most important of all of our keys to extreme living, because it's the one that allows us to live life with hope and optimism and be able to look at more than just our problems, to know that God is real, he loves us, and he's in charge. Now, yesterday on the Daily Snack, we played a little clip of the first song that I want to have in Club Dance today, and that's a song called Hindsight. And in that song, they sing that we don't need to know what the future is, because if the past the past could talk, it would tell us this. It's easier for the past to talk than apparently for me to talk. And then it's our God isn't finished yet. If he did things before, he'll do them again. This idea that when we want to know for sure that God has our best in mind, that he's in charge, that he loves us, all we need to do is look at the past. We can look at what happened in the Bible. We can look at what happened to our parents' lives and our lives and the lives of people we know. We can say, God did all that stuff in the past. And you know what? He's so awesome. He still does it now, and he can still do it again in the future. So let's sing, dance, listen along to this song called Hindsight, and remember that all the great things that God has done in the past.
As I reflect, I find perspective. They're in the best and worst days of this life. You were always on my side. Come on, do you believe that? You're in the pain, you're in the promise, and on the days that find Come on, sing it with me. My God isn't finished yet. If he did it before, he can do it again. So I'll trust him with what comes next. Cause my hindsight says I can count on this. My God isn't finished yet. If he did it before, he can do it again. So I'll trust him with what comes next. For the God I know is known for faithfulness. Yeah, my hindsight says I can trust him with what's next. For the God I know is known for faithfulness. Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Oh man, what a great song. I love that song. And let's keep going with this kind of hindsight theme. Let's sing a couple songs where we remember some specific things that God has done and that God promises that he will continue to do. So I want to sing a song. This is the first time in all of club dance history that we're going to sing a song that's actually a little bit more chill, actually a little slower. And for some of you, you're like, oh, I hate it when the songs slow down. But, you know, some of y'all like love it when the songs slow down. So I want to throw you guys a bone here. And we got a song called We Believe. It really lays out all the things that Jesus followers believe. We learn from the Bible, we believe these things. We believe about God the Father and his son Jesus and his Holy Spirit that lives in us. Man, these are great promises. And we talk about the past talking. We talk about looking at with hindsight of the great things that God has done. This song lays out so many of them. So let's sing We Believe together.
In this time of desperation, when all we know is doubt and fear,
You know, after a lot of these songs, I'm like, whoa, man, that really got my heart pumping. That one made me sweat. Not that one. That one was nice and chill. It was a nice way just to unwind and relax a little bit. But now we've got one final song here at Club Dance, and it's a song called Now and Forever. It has some great cartoon animations. It's one of our favorites when we're together at Journeys Crossing Church in Germantown, Maryland. We love singing this song and watching the little chalk animation going on. But it's also one of these great songs that we can look at with hindsight and see all that God has done for us. God the Father sent his only Son to make a way for us to live with him. That is an awesome piece of hindsight to have, and it can help us trust that God has our best in mind. Let's sing this song, Now and Forever.
Father sent his only Son to make a way for us to get to heaven. God the Father sent the only one who could set us free from all our sin. Jesus, Savior, now and forever. Jesus, Savior, now and forever. My Savior overcame the world, died on a cross and rose again. For every boy and girl, paid the price for each and every sin. Jesus, Savior, now and forever. Jesus, Savior, now and forever. Healer, defender, now and forever. Jesus, Savior, now and forever. There's one way, one truth, one life. Jesus, there's one way, one truth, one life. Jesus. One way, one truth, one life, Jesus. There's one way, one truth, one life, Jesus. Jesus, Savior, now and forever. Jesus, Savior, now and forever. Healer, defender, now and forever. Jesus, Savior, now and forever. There's one way, one truth, one life, Jesus. There's one way, one truth, one life, Jesus. There's one way, one truth, one life, Jesus. There's one way, one truth, one life, Jesus.
Well, that does it for us here at the Hindsight edition of Club Dance. I hope this was an energizing time for you. I hope you had a great time singing along and remembering all the great things that God has done for me, done for you, done for every person that you know. And I hope it helps you to remember that we can trust that God has our best in mind. Hey, I hope you join me Monday on the Daily Snack, because Monday we launch a whole new theme. We've been here at Winter Extreme for lots of weeks now, talking about some keys to extreme living. But starting on Monday, we're going to start telling the greatest story ever told. I don't want to spoil a whole lot about it. You'll have to tune in Monday to find out. And then this weekend, what are you going to do this weekend? Because we don't have Daily Snack this weekend. Well, there's 2 ways to connect with us. Saturday, tomorrow, if you're watching this on Friday, we're going to meet together for a live Kids Church experience. We'll have a limited number of kids there. We'll have masks and social distancing, but we're going to have tons of fun. We're going to play games. We're going to talk together, and we're going to have a great time just worshiping God and being together. You have to register for that because we have a limited number of people available. To be there, you register at ilovethischurch.com/events. Not going to be there Saturday, no problem. On Sunday, we're going to be back with our buffet-sized Daily Snack mashup. We take all the Daily Snack episodes from this week, we squish them all together, and we have them all there for you just to binge on Sunday morning, to remember this week's key to extreme living and to relive your favorite parts. If you missed any, then you can go back and see them that way too. So Saturday, we're here live at the building. Sunday, we're here on video with a big Daily Snack buffet. And then Monday, come back to the Daily Snack as we start telling the greatest story ever told. See you guys later. Bye-bye.
Young man, always surfing, no waves. I do it for the kids.
All for the youngest. Young man, always surfing, no waves. I do it for the kids.
They wanna know.
They wanna know
Who I do it for.
who I do it for.
I do it all. I do it all. Do it for the kids.
They wanna know. They wanna know who I do it for. Who I do it for. Yeah, I do it all. Yeah, I do it for the kids. This right here for the kids. Yeah, I know what they want. I'ma give them what they need.